Katie, let's go back to when you first opened your company on location. How many did you have before you franchised?
I had four.
You had all four before you franchised.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And again, this was um I hadn't planned this out. This wasn't on the 5-year plan. It's just how, I listened to the universe, and this is how we, grew. But I self-funded the first location, which 8 years ago, costs were a lot less. We were
Sure.
super scrappy. My, brothers we were doing all the construction ourselves and painting, and I mean we were doing everything ourselves. But I was able to open a lot more affordably than, maybe I would today. So self-funded with no cash reserve. This was like open and pray that people would start coming in, because
Well,
I didn't
yeah,
I didn't know what else.
again, another thing we have in common on that.
Yeah.
Yes, I went through that too.
So
Boy, that's a stressful way of doing business, but yeah,
totally.
that
We're more conservative now. We set, some
sure.
realistic expectations and boundaries, but self-funded the first. And then every location that that I owned myself, I would wait till one was profitable. And then I would take those profits and dump it into a new market and a new location. And so I opened one in 2016, one in 2017, two in 2019.
Hmm.
And then at that time, I had four. We were in four different markets, had, approximately 40 employees. And I remember telling my accountants at that time, we've got it. It's like copy and paste now. Like I know what we're doing. And
Right,
they would kind of giggle and say, well, it still costs money. And,
right.
put the healthy fear back in my head. And then just thought, one, I believe in this. I've seen it work in multiple, cities. I have an amazing team that's supporting it. I'm definitely limited to my, operational support, my capital, just my bandwidth. And so that's when franchising just looked like the really obvious solution.
Hmm.
Ultimately, our goal was, how do we get these services in front of as many people? How do we expand outside of Colorado? And especially because of the industry we're in, every state, the medical law is very different. And so having medical professionals, doctors, looking at what that ownership looks like in different states, it really, franchising was a really good option for us. So beginning of 2020, hired the team, the consultants, the attorneys, and we started building out our franchise disclosure document.
Wow. You said all four company locations were in different markets. Where are they all located?
I say not two different markets.
Okay.
So three are in Denver,
Okay.
but different kind of areas of Denver, and one
Sure.
is in Boulder.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. So
Yeah.
you ultimately decide you're going to franchise this concept and you bootstrap it, I assume, from the profit of.
Bootstrap it. I brought on two partners. So the three of us, we, and still today, it's still self-funded. And our consultants that helped us originally, now they're our franchisees, but they were clients of ours. So this is another kind of full circle moment, but clients of ours that I had great relationships with, they were experienced in franchising and kept telling me, over the years, Katie, this is a great concept. We really think you should franchise. And
Hmm.
I would say, okay, and kind of brush them off. And finally, it came the time, especially with the opportunity to have these partners, that I had a lot of the pieces. I felt supported. I felt very comfortable with where our corporate spas were. And I said, let's do it. That was January of 2020. Little did I know that the pandemic was right around the corner.
Right.
I was actually getting ready to open my fifth spa, and the fifth spa was opening the week we went into quarantine. It was a different concept, a different model. It was a large wellness space that
Hmm.
housed about 40 different practitioners all under one roof. So we had kind of one little cubby. So it was a different business model that we were trying out. A lot of great intentions behind it from the whole community. Unfortunately, horrible timing to try and do, big community group.
Right.
And so that concept we kind of opened. It was always at 50% capacity. A year later, we ended up closing it, pulling out completely. And so, it hasn't always been huge successes. That was the concept that didn't work. And I look at our owners now and I said, well, I'm grateful that I did
Yeah.
that mistake and learned from it. And now, I can use myself as an example. But in March, I had my 4 spas closed down for about 6 weeks, and we still didn't really know, there was a lot of uncertainty, and it was terrifying. I thought, how the heck am I supposed to be motivated and passionate and excited about sharing this business model with other
Right.
people? I don't even know if I'm going to open my doors and make it this year. At the end of the day, I thought, I'm so far in it. We're just pushing through. I cannot accept anything otherwise.
Right.
And so the silver lining was the 6 weeks that we were not in our spa. I had about 8 managers who I had on payroll. I wanted to keep paying. And I said, well, since we can't work in the spa and service clients, you're going to help me redo our training manuals and operations and everything. And we're just going to focus on franchising and get this FDD put together. And all of a sudden, we had all of this time that we never had before. And we worked all day, every day on Zoom like this. And I'm so proud of my team for we rallied and we did it. And we kept looking forward, and everything started kind of falling back in place. As soon as we reopened, because we rebounded so strong, so much stronger than I was even expecting. I mean, we had members who were coming in, just clients in general. We had people coming in more frequently. They were spending more money than they used to. There was this huge, light now on wellness and
Right.
what you can do to take control of your wealth or health. And so once we reopened, it was kind of, sky's the limit, and we were ready to file our FDD. And so there we go. It all worked out. It was just really scary.
Yeah, it was really scary. But look at the silver lining in COVID is you used your resources and you were resourceful by getting your managers together and making the best of a bad situation. And
Yeah.
and that wouldn't have happened otherwise. I mean, when would you guys have ever said, okay, we're going to take time out of our already busy day and figure out this franchise thing and figure out the training and support? Most of the time, as a new franchise company, we'll hire a consultant to do the operations manual, and you're leaning on 1 or 2 people and they're just providing information. But you guys were able to hunker down and do nothing but that. And that's what made it so good, I bet.
Well, and no one knows your business like you do. And
Right.
and we pulled back all the layers and tried to look at everything with fresh eyes. And we thought, well, this is the opportunity to revamp our spas. So what are we in the habit of doing that isn't efficient? Or, I mean, we questioned everything that we were doing, everything from inventory to marketing to operations to who we had on our team. Are these the right people? I mean, this was our opportunity to have a fresh start and reopen. And so, I was very fortunate, because I think that's also why our corporate spas did so well rebounding, is because we made changes. I
Right.
mean, it was like this new and improved. We were so happy to kind of show off our new spa that we had been working so hard on. And it just went back to a lot of operational efficiencies, certainly looking at, our budgets and expenses. And we thought, profitability is super important. We know revenue is cut significantly. So what else, how else are we going to adjust
Right.
our bottom line? And so we just got, we looked at things in a really smart, way.
Yeah, you were open to everything. You guys were open-minded to reinventing yourself. So, all right, we're in the throes of COVID. You have the operations manual done and everything. FDD is done. When do you start officially kicking off franchising? Who's selling franchises for you at this point? Like, bring me to when is this happening?
My partners and I were selling franchises. We actually didn't hire like a formal franchise development manager or department
Sure.
until about 3 years in.
Okay.
which again was one of those decisions where we were trying to be very cost effective, and I wanted to so be in the know because I was still learning, and so every single lead that was coming in, I was getting on the phone with. Then we thought, this is, as much as I mean, I was so excited. It was this new opportunity,
Of
and I was
course.
like so grateful that people would I was honored that people were considering this opportunity.
Right.
Then we realized, just knowing more about franchising, there's so many different layers and so many different kind of qualifiers that you need to put in place, not only for the franchisee, but for the franchisor. And so we learned to systemize a lot more and be, more transparent with the information up front, whether it's on our website. But in the beginning, it was like, hey, we're franchising, just get on the phone with Katie, and we're not going to tell you anything until then.
Sure.
And I had some really amazing conversations, and I had some conversations that were, obviously not going to go anywhere. So I was selling them. Our very first franchise that opened were the same clients of ours that helped us consult and build the franchise. And they now own 4 units within our system.
Great.
One in Colorado, 3 in Texas. Our second owner was a partner group of 3, one of which is family, and that was our Arizona team. And they have 3 of 6 open, and they're doing phenomenally well. And so this was, our first few. It was, who is in our circle that we can really make sure. Even in the beginning, I was still, I don't want to say I wasn't confident, but I knew what I did well and what my team did well.
Right.
And now it's, how do it was a lot of pressure that I felt, and I still put on myself. These are big decisions and big financial commitments that people are trusting us with. And probably a little to a fault, I do hold that so personally. But ultimately, I want all of our franchise owners to be
Of
successful. So we
course.
take it very seriously. And so in the beginning, it was like, oh gosh, like, do we, are we sure we're going to know how to support you? Do we have the right tech in place? Is our team big enough to support? And that's why we just, we were very slow kind of moving in the beginning, just to kind of have all hands. And now, we kicked off this year. We have an amazing development team. We're getting into the portals and all these kind of spreading our wings a little bit. And this is the first time that we're really, really ready to expand. We feel like we have a really strong infrastructure, and the owners that we have. We just had our owner summit this past week in Arizona.
Oh, congrats.
And thank you. And it's incredible to see how happy they are and how motivated and how forward thinking they are. And so we're just really excited to now, bring more people into the mix.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.